What is up, fragrance family out there on YouTube? Thanks for joining me here on my channel, Steven Sturgill. Yes, we're going to talk about some Guerlain, House of Guerlain. Looking at this guy, Santal Royal Santal. That's the little insert. And it says, for this creation, Guerlain perfumer Thierry Wasser drew inspiration from the treasures of the East and reworked one of the rarest and most precious ingredients in the world of perfumery, sandalwood. Shrouded in mystery, this bewitching note is exalted in a new woody oriental fragrance, playing on the subtle contrast between the dark notes of leather and oud wood and the luminous floral notes of jasmine and rose. Sounds good, huh? Yep. And that's my little sample that came with it. This is an official sample. Santal Royal, not a decant or whatever. So let's talk about Guerlain's trinity of releases here. They've done the oud, they've done the Santal, and then they've done the what's the other one? Amber, yeah, the Amber Eternel. Oh, thanks for joining. MS Btef, is that Mike? I just joined up. Glad to see you made it to my live. Yeah, let's talk about the House of Guerlain. So, whether or not you like Guerlain as a house is, well, firstly, it's obviously a very deeply personal type choice. There are those who have followed the house almost like a pagan god. I mean, for like generations, literally, like their mother used it, their mother's mother used it, maybe her mother used it. And then there's sort of a much newer, younger generation that never necessarily used it. They weren't even around back when it was back when it was in vogue in France, if you will. And of course, we know. Well, I say we know. You may or may not know that. I think it was early. I want to say early 2000s, at the very outer limit, that the Monsieur Guerlain actually was sort of forced out of the company as a figurehead for some potentially racist comments he made in Paris towards those of another ethnicity, let us say. And my point in saying that is not is that okay? Leadership changed directions, the vision changed, and Guerlain was struggling to sort of create a new identity for the new millennium that didn't necessarily cantilever off everything they had done before as a house, because you have older socialites and wealthy people, obviously from France, from around the world, really, that adored certain fragrances from this house. And then you had a lot of newer, younger people that A, didn't know a whole lot about the company, B, what little they knew, or even if they knew a lot more, simply were uninterested in the brand. It seemed like an old classical house, boring, staid, very yesteryear, very yesterday. Uh, yeah, I think that's fair to say, and it's not unlike something that's happened with a lot of the other older houses as well. Although I don't think it was um, quite as difficult maybe as it was with this house, because on the one sense, Guerlain represents something that is a very very old tradition, and once you start tinkering and offering too many new type of blends, you risk alienating your old acolytes, your old followers from the house. It's kind of a conundrum. It's almost the catch 22. However, I will say this: while it is arguable that maybe these are somewhat of a new direction for the house, this trio here, at the same time, let's not pretend that all the houses, French, English, German, Italian, and American, uh, haven't at some point gone through the whole Arabic world, the Middle East, fascination with Asia. They've all done it. They will continue to do it, and they go through cycles. So they've done it in the 1800s, they've done it in the 1900s, they've done it in the early 2000s, and now they're doing it again, albeit maybe a little more concretely, maybe a little more now in your face. Um, yeah, so, okay. One thing we know about the House of Guerlain is that they've been, it's said that a lot of their scents have a sweet note, a very sort of a sweet, sugary, syrupy DNA to a lot of their fragrances, and it's certainly not limited to these three. It's pretty much in a lot of the other ones. So that is certainly here. That is present in all three of these perfumes DNAs. You get that sweet aroma chemical Guerlain DNA, and it is very much part of their sort of signature scent. That's the type of olfactory presentation they like to present. Now, so if we can agree that all these have a certain type of signature sweetness, uh, I think they get it right for the most part. These tend to smell like something very Middle Eastern slash India slash Persia slash the Ottoman Empire type things. Turkey. This scent, let's just get right into it before I'm just rambling at this point, but let's get into it. So again, Santal Royal. Do I think? I don't know. I don't know if this smells to me so much like sandalwood. I mean, it's in there, but it's for me, it's very, very soft, very, very mild. It's almost at the background of this fragrance. I don't know. I've smelled many, many sandalwood fragrances, and to me, I'm not denying that it's in here, but it doesn't really smell that particularly emphatic. It's not that obvious. Past maybe some of the creaminess of the scent, but that could be from several other aroma chemicals. But okay, well, let's just assume it's in her and and maybe you get it more than I get it. That's fine. That's not really my point. But let's talk about okay, this dropped like the other two, I believe, in 2014. Nose on this is the ever famous uh, Terry Wasser or Wasser, Thierry, Thierry. These are all unisex. Neroli, jasmine, peach, rose, cinnamon, sandalwood, leather, amber, oud, and finally musks, plural. So apparently there's more than one musk in here, I guess. The rose really, really jumps out at you in this scent. Don't forget also I kept on reading online that there's this fruity note. There's this fruity note. The fruity note here, guys, is mainly peach and maybe some other aroma chemical. And I didn't realize that at first because that rose combining with the neroli and jasmine and the cinnamon, and especially, of course, the amber and the oud and the sandalwood, the leather and the musks, I couldn't really tell it because it almost gives it a sort of a Turkish delight vibe, right? You get almost like a candied Middle Eastern type candy vibe along with that cinnamon, and that the rose again is it's strong, it's a bit pungent, it's not over the top, but it's very much front and center. The neroli and the jasmine, they're here, they're obvious but not exaggerated nor that emphatic, but they're there, and it's clear that they're there. The leather to me is here, but it's very much in the background. It's not all that animalic. It's definitely not strong, but it is semi-obvious, if that makes sense. But it's very much in the background. I think it comes out more in the dry down. Also, the oud, while present, I think it also comes out a lot stronger in the dry down, along with the musks. And the sandalwood also, I find, peaks out a lot more in the dry down. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not blown away by the performance of this, while it starts out near beast mode, so be careful with sprays, at least initially, I find that the dry down came quicker than I would have expected. And mm, the quiet point, if you will, the point at which a fragrance pretty much dies down to near neutral in terms of effusiveness, where maybe people are struggling to smell it on you. I think it came a lot quicker in these fragrances than I expected for such Middle East themed powerhouse type scents. I'm not saying they're weak. Don't get me wrong; they're pretty strong, but at least on my skin, they stopped diffusing in a way that I really could enjoy the richness of the scent after about 3 hours. After about 3 hours, it was there, but I kind of had to do this or do this. And then I could very much smell it on skin. I don't know, and I'm not professing to be sure how much people smelled it on me, around me. I'm just simply saying, for what it's worth, I couldn't really enjoy it much past the fourth hour for sure, other than as a very mild to modest um, skin scent and bubble, if that makes sense. Just very, very modest. I mean, if I went like that, of course I could smell it, no problem. So I'm sure if someone was right up on me, they probably smelled it, but it definitely wasn't just like radiating past much past the fourth hour. Now I didn't go that heavy, and all and with all due respect, only did about maybe 3 spritzes. Probably 6 to 8 sprays would last longer. Certainly, if I put more on clothes, I'm sure I could have stretched that out probably to an easy 6 to 8 hours. So I'm not trying to say these have performance issues. I just frankly expected the effusiveness to last a lot more in the 8 to 10 hour region, or at the very least 6 to 8 hours, if that makes sense. So a little disappointed, if I'm quite honest, with the performance, but it's not a deal breaker. And let's be honest, these started out, I think, retail around the $250 mark US, possibly more overseas. You can find these guys online, and it varies widely depending on the source that you go through. But you can find these for as little as about $100 US. Bottle only, maybe a tester, maybe not. Be careful who you buy through. You may be getting a fake, or you may be getting something real, but no box. It's your money. Play with it. Spend it how you will. But I found several channels that seem exceedingly authentic, and one of them had like a multi kit, like with a little side bottle. I think that was Overstock.com, and that was one of the cheapest by far. They had the Santal Royale set for just like 100 and I want to say 110, $120 roughly US, plus a small shipping fee. That's about the cheapest I've ever seen for an actual yeah, high level kit, that comes with the actual main 4.2 ounce big bottle and the little tiny travel spray. So that's a heck of a deal for those of you out there really looking to get your nose on this scent. What an absolutely stellar deal to get your nose on this. Now the scent, it is musky, it's woodsy, it's got that cinnamon that starts coming up more in the dry down. The leather starts peeking out more. The amber is quite rich. That sandalwood does come a little bit more into play. Again, that rose is the superstar of the fragrance, along with those other notes of cinnamon. The peach is very, very present. And the neroli and jasmine certainly are doing their thing, along with the musks and the oud. The oud here, you need not worry if you're not a huge oud fan. It's dialed way, way back. It's very mild. It's definitely not that pungent. And if it's animalic, it's very, very soft, and not overly pungent. You're not going to blast people out of the room. However, again, the opening can seem overly strong. That dies down very quickly within about 10 to 15 minutes, and then it gets a lot more controlled. So, if you're going to a special event, I say spray heavy. That's fine if you're going to be out a long time, but definitely don't go anywhere for about 15 to 20 minutes, and let it kind of just blend in and die down a bit, just a bit. If you're in more of a hurry, I recommend only 2 to 3 sprays for safety. But it's your body, your skin. Uh, wear it like you will, and it's a fine scent. It's definitely somewhat of a crowd pleaser for the type that this scent is. It's excellent. It speaks volumes of quality, and it's very tasteful. It's high shelf, high brow, high concept, but it's not really breaking new ground or anything like that. It's not really something we haven't seen before. It's simply Guerlain's take on a well trodden formula, if you will, that the West has used for many, many years now, and they keep on recycling. That's fine. We all do it. They all do it, and no problem. Gorgeous bottle presentation and a pretty interesting line. I wouldn't, however, say that these are better than comparable niche frags. I would definitely not say that. These are definitely not quite as good as high level comparable niche fragrances, but they come absolutely very close and within a stone's throw for the most part. They're a little bit less elite, a little bit less impressive. They're a little bit more of a crowd pleaser, and generally they're also less expensive. Again, depending on what channel you go through. But get your nose on this. It's a very, very good, rich, sexy, interesting take on sort of the Middle East themed rose oud, cinnamon, sandalwood, leather, amber combo, along with neroli, jasmine, maybe some other aroma chemical notes in there. I don't know. Anyways, it's an excellent scent for what it's worth. Longevity, not the best. Sillage, past 4 to 5 hours, not great. It's there, but not great. And other than that, if you can get it for about $100 a bottle, roughly between 100 and 120, I think it's probably a no-brainer. If you need a frag like this and haven't overly gone too much into this segment of fragrances, or if you're simply a huge fan of this type of fragrances, or thirdly, if you're just a huge fan of the house of Guerlain and you have to have it, knock yourself out, get your nose on this, get a decant, get a sample. And that's about it, guys. We will catch you on the next live. Let's see. Anything going on? I forgot to tab back into the live feed. Am I missing anything? Okay, a couple of the guys are talking back and forth about some of the different about the lineup. I think they have 4. He's saying Zetiwar saying there's 4 in the line. Let's see, those 4 are the Guerlain is vanilla based. Thank you, Mike. Thanks so much, guys. Anyways, if you guys have more requests to talk about other fragrances or illuminate me on different other aspects, or if you'd like me to compare fragrances or have some kind of challenge type show, we can maybe put head to head this frag against that frag and maybe do like a champions runoff or playoff. We can talk about that. I'm open to suggestion. MFK 540. My mother has the 540, not in the extrait, but in the regular eau de parfum. And it is it's an excellent, excellent fragrance. I think for me personally, it leans more feminine. That's just my personal opinion. Don't hate me for saying that. It definitely skews feminine, even though I know it's technically unisex. Yes, I'm in the US. I'll get with you later, Mike. Yeah, I've got to run. I've got something. I'm already gone overtime. But anyways, shout out to you guys out there. Mark Robzo8, thank you for some tips on your channel. And shout out to Carlos and also Stephen Redolescence. Yeah, I've heard the extrait is fantastic, but quite similar to the perfume. At any rate, guys, I've got to run. Spray often, spray well. Live life on your terms, not someone else's. And I'm going to end it there. Thanks for joining me for this live. I will catch you on the next episode.